Hello everybody, my name is Rembo, I am the chair of the LIA's research department, and I'm here to explain to you how to use the quotes template for Gimp for the LIA. For any information that you would want to go over, there's a usage document, which I'll be referring to in this video as well. It's probably going to be updated from the version that I'm using right here, but the version I'm using right here is plenty good enough to explain the use of the quotes. The quotes templates and the usage documents will be able to be, are able to be found on the Liberalist Nextcloud. If you don't have access to the Liberalist Nextcloud, bug the chair of your department for it. So if you go to the Nextcloud, which is liberalistcloud.com, you will find yourself on this window right here, this little interface. If you go to interdisciplinary stuff, you will find the folder templates and docs. In that folder, you will find the folder GIMP. In that folder, you'll find another folder quotes, and that's the final folder you need. Here you will find files called templates_quotes, and then Canada, LIA, which is the main LIA branded one, LibIR, and LibUK. You're supposed to download one of these files and work off of your local copy. It's a good idea to check back regularly to see if one of these has not been updated, because I usually try to add assets regularly. Once you're familiar with GIMP and the template itself, feel free to add your own assets to the templates as well. It's gonna only make other people's workload easier. In this folder, you'll also find the PDF explaining the quotes usage document in PDF form. There's also a folder here, Outputs, where you can save the outputs you make with this document in a folder for per author, basically. Also a folder used quotes here, which is not something you should worry about. Let the person that's responsible for handling the social media worry about that one. So you will probably be needing template quotes_LIA, and then perhaps the version of whichever regional group you are a part of. If there is no regional group, then contact the LIA chairs if you want to start your own regional group and need some help. If there is no template for your regional group, contact the LIA chairs or me, and I'll make you a template if you don't feel like you'll be able to do it yourself, even after watching this video. So, if we were to open the document, the templates, we would be met with a screen like this, or this, or this, depending on which state I saved it in exactly. In any case, the important aspect here is the toolbar is on the left hand side right here, and the layers tab is on the right hand side right here. First of all, if you've never used GIMP before, in GIMP, like in many other image manipulation programs, an entire image is made up out of layers. Layer can contain all kinds of things, can contain images, can contain shapes and vector shapes. It can contain, layers can be transparent and or not. Layers can contain just real text objects, and so on. In this template, I've set up things so that things are properly subdivided in layers, and I've used a tool called layer groups. A layer group is basically a folder for layers. So if you check on the right hand side, you'll see that there's 5 named items here, LIA blue, and so on up to assets 1. And that there's a plus icon next to each one of these. That means it's a layer group that I can expand. It's a layer group that contains other layers. And the little eye icon right here means that this layer group is visible. See, if I click the LIA blue thing, the little eye icon right there, eye icon disappears, and a part of the picture disappears. If I click the eye icon next to assets, everything will be gone. If I just click LIA blue, this will disappear, but you will see this checkerboard pattern through it, And that indicates that this layer is translucent because the checkerboard pattern is the rough background. If I were to export this, that would be an empty picture. Not white, not black, it would just be empty, translucent, completely translucent. So, for the very basic use of this templates, what you need to do is select your templates and change the text and select the proper picture. There's two versions of the templates. There's version A, which is just simple text with the proper branding for the LIA. For the LIA colors, if you need a reference to it, the branding is included in the usage document. It's page number 3, apparently, right here. Page number 3 of the usage document. And version A, just basic branding, just for a basic quote. And then there's a version B for quotes that directly pertain to one of these 7 liberalist principles. These quotes have a header that you can change to the appropriate quote, and then a list the appropriate quote to the quote appropriate principle, and a list of these 7 principles at the bottom, in which the appropriate principle can be bolded out so that it stands out more. And there's 2 subversions of this version: a blue text on a white background and yellow text on a blue background. You can fuck around with the colors as much as you want, as long as you make it look pretty and it stays somewhat near to the liberalist branding, you know. There's a light blue variant of the color that we've used, for instance, and that would probably also be applicable at with this LIA blue version of the template right here. So let's say, simplest scenario, I want to make a quote for somebody that's already in the list of assets right here. Let's say Milton Friedman. First, I'd have to make sure that the assets subgroup, layer group, is visible. So I click right next to there where the eye icon should be. Then I notice, well, the assets group is visible, but this is Thomas Paine, apparently, that's visible. And in the link here, you can see eye icon next to Thomas Paine. So let's make Socrates visible. It's made Socrates visible, but not a lot changed. You know, you can see some very slight changes here because I fucked up with translucency, apparently. But this is a consequence of the fact that layers are stacked. And the layers that are higher up on the list get drawn first. So everything below that gets drawn under it. So if I drag the Socrates layer up to above Thomas Paine, then you'll see Socrates instead of Thomas Paine. But another thing I could have done is just made Thomas Paine's layer invisible. You know, either way. But that was a good way of demonstrating the fact that the order in which you layer stuff is important. Let's take a quote from Milton Friedman, one that I happen to know by heart. It's a quote that pertains to a specific principle, which is economic freedom. So let's choose the LIA B version, and I'll show you how this works. Make sure you select the text tool, and then to make sure you have no selection problems, just click anywhere outside of this window. You can scroll in with control by holding Control and scrolling in and out. You can zoom in and out. So click anywhere outside of there. And the quote that I'm referring to is, most opponents of free markets have a tendency to most people who oppose the free market also have a lack of belief in the idea of freedom itself. Some variant of that. It doesn't really matter at this point, does it? In any case, it pertains to economic freedom. So I'll select this text and I'll just start typing economic freedom and whoops. pressed enter there on accident. Just gonna delete the rest of the text. I selected the center of the text because sometimes it has a tendency to not properly select your underline, and I was too lazy to just select the text and click the underline button right here. So I started typing in the middle. So we change the text right here to most opponents of the free market have a lack of belief in freedom itself. And that wasn't Karl Popper, that was Milton Friedman. Gonna delete some tab characters right there to make it align properly. Will it look better if I add an enter here? I don't think so. If you want, you can mess around with the size of your text box by dragging those edges a little bit until you like the look of it. Don't forget this list down here. I find it easiest to just triple click it to select everything, bold everything, unbold everything, then select the principal you need bolded, and just press this little bold button right here in this nice little pop-up text bar. Real easy. And once you've done that, you can export as, select wherever you want to export that shit to, click export, and then if we open recent, we'll see that it's created that, and that's what we exported right there. Nice and spiffy looking. You can apply that to all of those templates without much of a problem at all. That was the basic explanation of the basic workflow. There will be a part 2 of this video where we will go into the expanded workflow a little bit.